Hey guys, it's Tim Gillette, and we're back here with another episode of the Tim Gillette Show. Well, as you know, this show is not about me, even though it's titled after my name. It's about bringing some of the most interesting people that we know on the planet. So I love it because I get to know and meet people on occasions like this, where I get to interview them, find about them, their business, and how they are making a change in the world. Because it's not about me, it's about them. So, and I've loved this as a podcaster. It has been one of the funnest things in my life to be able to interview people and find out how they help. Doesn't mean I always 100% like them, but in this case, I think I really do like this guy. I'm just saying, this guy just seems so cool from watching his website, looking over his stuff. I've been looking forward to today's interview. So I'm going to get to know him. His name's John Onorato. I think I said that right. He'll correct me if I'm wrong. If not, we're just going to call him John O. Because let me tell you, he looks like my kind of dude. So let's bring him on here. Hey, John.
Hey, Tim. How you doing?
All right, man. So, I know you we were talking in the pre-chat, and you kind of looked into it and went, wait a minute, this guy's kind of like cool, and like, wait a minute. He doesn't look that same anymore. How come?
Well, thanks for pumping me up, man. I really appreciate that. It's like I'm not used to that kind of treatment. So it's real nice.
Well, I mean, John, I looked over your website, man, and like, everybody's got room to improve, but like, you don't have much room to improve. You look like you bringing it out there, just like, hey, this is me, and this is how I help people. Well, and that's the people we want on this show.
Awesome, yeah, because like I watched a couple of your shows, and it seemed like my kind of people. Like I try to lead with my vulnerability. Mm-hmm. It's like I just put it out there, and it's like, if you like it, great. If you don't, well, there's the door, man.
Yeah, I mean, and in our today's diverse world, all right. Yeah. I think it's so cool that some of us can still just be us, all right. And you know what I mean? You're pulling off. You just be me. You're not trying to make $1 billion. You're not trying to change the whole world, but you're trying to change your world. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, that's pretty accurate, because like this is all I have control over. Like the world is going mad out there, right? And like nobody has any control over anything except themselves. So I'm doing the best I can to make myself a better person, to present myself better, and to have a good business, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I mean, I looked at the site. It looks like you're doing some copywriting work. You're doing some writing work. Looks like you've even done some ghostwriting work. So how did you get into this?
I've been writing, Tim. I've been writing pretty much ever since I could push crayons around a piece of paper, right? Until I figured out how to make marks with them. And all my teachers and whatnot in school gave me high praise and stuff, and I never really did anything with it until 2013, when I discovered that I really needed to work freelance for myself. I was in a brain injury rehab program, and they tried to put me in a job where, like, they put me in the workforce, which is great, which I was having trouble with at the time, but it wasn't a fit. Like, it was too noisy. There was too much chaos. I couldn't handle it. So I decided to take the leap into freelance writing, and here we are 7 years later.
And you know what I mean? It's a fun career. First of all, I've been in writing since 2010, so I get it. I loved it. You know what I mean? For me, and I put it off for a long time. I mean, I had people back as far as 2003 tell me to do it, and I'm like, yeah. Nobody wants to read what I write. Come on, man. It was a self-belief thing. Did you go through that self-belief thing, or was it a struggle for you?
Well, a lot of it is believing in yourself. I mean, you got to believe in yourself. You got to have faith in yourself. You got to know that even though other people might be collecting rejection slips, left and right, you just got to keep plugging away at it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Eventually enough people were telling me that I'm good with the written word, and that I finally started taking a personal look at my own talents, and a long, hard look at my own talents. And I discovered that, I really do have something going on. Maybe I should do something with it.
Yeah. When you started 2013, all right, did you have like, were you able to grab a following real quick, or was it like a struggle to go, okay, where's my niche?
Um, it was a struggle to find a niche. Like I feel my first client was a graphics and computer animation guy, and he wanted me to write blogs for him, and I did that. That was great. So I kind of thought that was my niche because it fit in with my technical background and stuff like that. Since then, I have more developed it. Like I still do some technical writing, but my major niche is working for coaches, helping them refine their message, helping them get it out there, helping people. Coaches change the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you're too busy changing the world that you don't have time enough to write, and that's what I'm for. That's where the goes.
And I get, John, I get that, because that was me for the long time. Was, I really, it was a struggle, because like I would go out and write when I needed business, but then as soon as business got rolling, I didn't have time to write.
Right.
So, I mean, and I don't know if that was, I mean, that's the type of people you help. Is that right?
Yeah, sometimes like me, I'm a committed writer. Like I write pretty much, maybe not every day, but like most every day, I get 1,000 words or more, or whatever out. And that's part of my craft. That's part of my practice. But then again, words are my passion, and they're not everybody's. Everybody, like yours is, I don't know, radio shows, I guess, podcasts.
Yeah.
And for people who don't have time to write, I'm there for them. For people who like to write and maybe their message isn't quite as effective as it could be, I can help them make it better by editing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, with your editing and your writing skills, in my case, I mean, there's my writing, my wife and my daughter have written for me because they get my language. In your case, writing for other people, are you able to find their language and then write into it? And I say that like, I mean, I wordsmith in my ways. You know what I mean? We're kind of our own people. Are you able to find that in people?
I like to interview people to see what they're about, to feel out the nuances, and that I might not get through, like if they just hand me a manuscript. So yeah, I like to interview people. I like to talk to people. I like to see what they're about. A lot like what you're doing, just not live on a podcast.
Yeah, I learned this. So I have a friend in the industry. His name's Jonathan Peters. I don't know if you know Jonathan or not, but Jonathan does like ghostwriting, and like I can tell you celebrity books that Jonathan wrote because I know him. He's my friend, right?
Yeah.
But he goes through like intense interviews with these people in order to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know what I mean? For him, it's going to their house for a week and spending time with them. All right. And this is just to write a book. I know you're doing more smaller content, not large
right
book,
now,
right? Yeah. And you're not writing like the celebrity backstory either. So, no. But I mean, it's an intense thing to get someone's language down. But the editing, all right. Now, I want to go into the editing because this was something in the beginning days of my writing, my wife and I struggled with. She used to always tell me, "Hey, Tim, get this editing right before you turn it over to an editor." I'm like, and then I heard from someone else who said, editing, no, you need to just put it out on paper and then go through and clean it up, because don't waste the creative thought process.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. My idea, I have a process that I use to write articles, and ideally it works like, first I write out what I'm thinking. I mean, I write it out with my hand and a piece of paper. And then I go for, a couple, 3, 4, or 5 pages in a composition book about that. Then I go and type it in. Okay. And as I type that in, I add things and I work things out. And then I go back over that article, and then I add or delete as makes sense. And then ideally between each of these steps is like at least a couple hours, if not a day or two, right? And then the final part of the process is to go make one last pass through it, do some final touch-ups. It's never going to be perfect, like perfection is a ridiculous goal to try to achieve, because you'll never get there, right? So once it's like 80% good enough, then I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like a lot of things, I might notice things, but like this, it comes from my time as a graphic designer. Like it might not be perfect, but it's only things that I will notice, you know? So once it's good enough, I'll push it out. So anyway, the magic in the editing is in the third pass.
Yeah. And it's funny because I'm not sure my editor made the third pass. The book was right. There was an error out that went on my first book, and a friend of mine caught it like early on. Him and I are sitting at a cafe or something after an event, and he goes, "Dude, this is wrong. You can't produce this." And at that point in time, I've got 500 copies coming to my house, and I'm like, well, here's what I'm going to do is I'm just going to let it go and see who catches it. And until this day, I wrote that book in 2012. Till this day, no one, and I do mean no one, has caught it.
Oh, okay. Was it?
And I said, there's an error. Find it.
What kind of error was it? Because I'll find it.
A spelling error on the back cover.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's like, no one's looking for it. It's like so many of us are like, and to me, we all get worried. And the key you said there is perfection's not there. We try to make it perfect and understand it's never perfect.
Right.
It's like you and I talking about the vibe of who we are and how we can really connect with each other.
Yeah.
That's it. All right. We realize we're not perfect guys. That's probably why we want to call and hang out together, you know?
Yeah. Right.
Really?
Yeah. I'm down, man.
Yeah. So 2013. So, right, you mainly then are doing the writing. Are you doing coaching or consulting, or is it just the writing and you got a team?
I don't have a team as yet. It's just, well, I do have a team, actually. I wanted to give like minor shout out to my wife and daughter, who are my stylist and my wardrobe and style team. Thank you guys. But and here I was going to make a crappy joke at your expense, but no, I don't. Sorry, man.
Hey, my last name's Gillette. People cut it up all the time.
Yeah, right. But yeah, it's just me, and I am doing a lot of writing and a little bit of coaching, and I'm maybe 50-50 right now.
Okay, yeah. So there's the balance to it, yeah. And I mean, really, one of the biggest things I've heard about people being in business, and it's been my true driver all throughout the years, was I didn't get in business to get rich. I get in business to be free. All right.
Yeah.
I still do the same thing. Set my business up to be free. All right. Is that you?
Yeah. So you mean free as in the sense of freedom?
Yeah.
And then being able to do what you want to do and when you want to do it. Yeah, pretty much.
Except right now where you got to wear a mask, go outside. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind, man. I'll do it. You know, I'm totally down. I don't get these people are like wanting to make it a political issue.
It's not. And again, I'm somebody who can't wear a mask, and I'm trying to come up with like a hat thing that comes off my hat with a clinch, but I don't go in places like I won't. All right, but you get it. All right, it's freedoms. Well, I freely choose not to go into the places that require it. That's a freedom. Yeah. But freedom, yeah. You built your business because you want to be free. You don't want to get a 40-hour week job, so you work 90 hours a week to avoid it.
Right. Yeah, because
who does that, but
because that makes sense. Yeah. It's like I said earlier in the program, Tim. It's like I was in the middle of a brain injury rehab program, and I can't work in a regular job. Yeah. Like it's like there's too much chaos. There's too much going on. There's too much noise. There's too much stimulus, and it just wrecks me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's I more or less have to work freelance.
Okay, you know what I mean. So let me dive into that if you don't mind, in the brain injury, because I myself 92. I had a head injury that gave me epilepsy.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that in the podcast I watched.
Yeah. So that's an issue, all right. And most people come in and they write off people like you or me and go, "Well, he had a brain injury once. Well, he has this disease." But did you find your creative zone in it? Like, oh my gosh, okay, this is an area that the world goes crash, squash down. Oh, great. Let me make something out of this. Did it bring you to life like it did me?
Yes and no. Yeah, good. The answer to that is a little complex because at first it held me down. At
Mm-hmm.
first it held me back. Like I sustained my brain injury in '84.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and people knew even less about brain injury in '84 than they did in '92.
Yeah.
So I don't have any direct memory of this, mine, but I am convinced that at least once, if not several times, the doctor. I was in the ICU for about a month in a coma, and I'm convinced that the doctor, within earshot of me, told my parents he'll never walk again, he'll never be a productive member of society again, he'll never talk again, whatever.
Yeah.
And when I woke up in the rehab hospital, I'm like, okay, well, this is my life now. I'm just going to get through it, and I did, and then I went back to high school. I finished that, and then I ran out of steam my second year of college,
Mm.
and that wall that had been placed in me by that doctor cropped up, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah.
Can I swear on the show?
Yeah, it's fine.
Right on. But yeah, so like for the last, I don't know, 20, 30 years or whatever, I've been held back by myself because I haven't known how to reclaim my own power to the point where I can actually do some good in the world. And that's what this writer thing is about, is me stepping out and trying to do good in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, again, reading through your stuff, I thought you've done good in the world. And, you know what I mean? I felt like the same thing, like the doctors had put it, an overcast over me, like you can't.
Right.
All right. And to me, you tell me you can't. At first, I may accept it, like it sounded like you did. But over the long run, I'm like, okay, I've got to find a way to beat this. I've got to find a way to beat this. All right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's something in me that just after a while kicks in.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a sign we're not dead yet.
Yeah. So, well, like I coasted for a long time. Yeah. And like in some ways I'm still coasting, but I'm picking up. I'm taking responsibility for myself now. Cool. Whereas before it was I didn't know what to do. You know, I asked my dad shortly after I started coming out of the coma, I started feeling myself again. And I asked my father, Dad, what do you want from me? What do you expect from me? What do you need? What should I do? And he said something really sweet. He's like, John, you don't need to do anything. You're alive, and that's enough for me. And that's great. I love that now that I'm older. But then I needed direction. Yeah. And I didn't get it. So I had to provide it for myself.
Well, I mean, and sometimes, I mean, I've heard this too, though, some of the most intelligent people in this world are self-educated. And I don't mean like we rebelled against school. I mean, like we had to figure it out. And that's how it became so intelligent. And that's sometimes, it's almost like it kicks in that extra sense you don't have. Like, I can't find it, but I've got to find it. You know what I mean? Type deal. So I'm going to ask your dad, how close were you with your dad when you were younger?
Fairly close. My relationship with my father was, it was good, but at the same time, he was a university professor with a 30-mile commute. Okay. And at the time, I didn't appreciate that. I didn't appreciate how much extra work he had to do until I started doing it with my own daughter. Yeah. So we were close, but we could have been closer. I would have preferred us to be closer because my mom and I were at odds all the time.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So yeah, my dad, you know what I mean? I could say there's things in my past that I was like, you know what I mean, that I didn't like about what dad did, you know what I mean? How he was strict in certain ways, but like even, as I had clients over here on Friday, and my mom lives close to me now. All right. And she actually comes over for dinner and has dinner with my clients when they come in for their one day.
Oh, wow.
And, she asked me, she says, well, you know what I mean? You know, there's things about your dad's that was strict that he did to you, but do you really love your dad for how he brought you up? And I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And I think part of that now is so many things that I had to learn to do after he passed.
Oh, wow.
And again, I mean, that's it. I mean, when we get past that finding that extra sense, you know what I mean? And it's usually the boys' relationship to their father can be how grounded they are in the world. And the girl's relationship to the mom as to how loving they become. And it's a weird phenomenon anyway, but I've never studied into it because to me it was like, okay, when I need to understand it, I'll study it.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So, I mean, but yeah, so is your dad still with us or?
Yeah, he's still around. Both my parents are kind of up there in age. Dad is 84, 85, and mom is like 88 or something. So yeah, but they're both still around.
And your dad was like a college professor, I assume?
Yeah, as I said, yeah.
All right. So yeah, my dad was high school Votech teacher. So it's like both of our fathers were in education. Unique. Very unique, and the two of us have an awful lot in common now.
Wow, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, what is some of the goals or dreams you have for your company and your business in the future?
I have the one thing that's been propelling me forward in the last couple of years is that I have a dream of being a world-class writer. Okay. Now, I'm open to whatever that looks like or whatever that means. It could be like somebody like Stephen King. It could be I could be doing more ghostwriting. I could be in high demand for coaching clients or what have you. It doesn't really matter. As long as I'm writing, I'm happy. Okay. So I'm these days, especially in the last few months, I'm doing things that I feel a world-class writer would do. Okay. I'm getting the website. I'm publishing articles. I'm putting myself out there. I'm getting on podcasts with awesome hosts. I'm doing all the things, right? And it's going to happen. It's inevitable.
Yeah. I mean, I like that. All right. You still have something that drives you. I still have something that drives me in my business. And I think all of us should. And I'll bet that is what makes the coaches who need writing help come to you. They're going, well, this guy's driven. I want help from him. All right. Yeah. And do you have clients that seek you out and go, no. I want to work with you. I don't want to work with whoever you refer me. I want to work with you.
I'm not there yet quite, but it's happening. In fact, an article that I just wrote and published on Medium was just pushed out to a newspaper in Pakistan. And I don't know what kind of paper this is. I don't know anything about them, but I just got a tweet the other day that said, you've been published on, and they attributed it just perfectly, and it's all good. But
that's Wow. Yeah, I don't think I've been written in any foreign country. I think I've been on podcasts in England, but that's it.
Oh yeah.
I've made a few in Canada, but yeah.
Where are you based?
I'm based out of Dallas, Texas. You?
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm in Austin, so that's not too far from me.
We're Texas people, man. Come on.
Right?
Did you grow up in Texas or?
No, I've been here. I was in Southern California for the first 17 years of my life, and then I moved to Texas in my 17th year.
So yeah, you did it at 17. All right, I waited till I was 30 to get to Texas. All right,
okay.
Both of us made a wise choice, but leaving California, anyway, not going to touch that one.
Yeah, I miss it, man. I miss it.
Well, no, there's some cool things about California, but like I have a friend who's now moving from my marketing coach. He's buying a second house here in Dallas because he's just going, dude, the amount of money you save in taxes, I'll take that at this point. Just by having a second house, I can get them, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I get it. All right. There's certain states that are just, they're cutting the creative guys like you and me out going, well, let me just tax you to death. And you go, dude, why am I working? Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on, Tim. Let's tax some of these corporations and stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That have the money to spare.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, that's a whole nother topic. I don't like to go out
Right.
anyway. Yeah. Anyway.
Right. That's why I shut my mouth on it.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I don't talk politics on my show. I have
Don't worry.
beliefs, and I'm glad that other people have beliefs, but my beliefs stay my beliefs.
Right on.
And that's what's cool about people. So you only have one daughter? Is
Yeah.
that one child? How
Yeah.
old?
Yeah. She's 20.
20? Okay, yeah. Mine's in her 30s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's her name?
I have two stepsons now too. So I'm on my marriage, our third marriage actually, and two stepsons. But the relationship with your daughter in her 20s. Now, did she go on to college, or did she just come out of school and go into work late?
Actually, we homeschooled her. We put her in regular school up until the third grade, and then she when she came home to us and she said and she was all stressed out about the standardized tests that they push down your throat, that they start pushing down your throat at the third grade, and she came to us and she says, "Mom, Dad, I think I need therapy. School is stressing me out." Then we pulled her out shortly after that, and we started homeschooling her. And actually, we tried to homeschool her, and then we discovered that for her, a process called unschooling worked better, which is basically where the child chooses their own areas of interest, and the parent helps them pursue those interests.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, it was, especially with my father being an educator. Like, I thought that education was supposed to work a certain way. And then my daughter kind of opened my eyes and see it can work all kinds of ways, many of which work better for the individual child than the regular stuff them in a school box, in a Cracker Jack box kind of way.
Well, you don't a box kind of guy, so I assume that you're not going to have kids who are box kind of kids. Yeah.
This was a long time coming, though.
Yeah.
Like you said, like you were saying in the pre-show, you changed your style up, and like for such a long time, my style was short hair and the whole crew cut thing and topsiders, and not anymore, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you know Larry Wingett?
No.
Okay, so Larry Wingett's, this is what I learned. I interviewed him in 2012 on one of my earlier podcasts, and he's known as the pit bull of personal development. And this guy is like outspoken about everything, right? I think his first book was Stop Whining, Shut Up, Stop Whining, and Get a Life, or something like that. I mean, it's just like, so I interviewed him and I asked him about that. I was like, you know what I mean? So Larry, why are you do this? And he basically went through the whole story about how basically he got sick of being kind of like your daughter, got sick of being pushed down a certain road and just said, that's it. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do it my way.
Yeah.
And, and that takes marketing to do, by the way. And I mean, I applaud you for trying to find that marketing to do it like I did. It takes marketing to do it your own way, because there are so many industries that they want you to fit in. Writing is one of them. Oh my gosh. Now, I'm not published in traditional publishing. I use self-publishing and hybrid publishing to do all my books. And the traditional publishing route, oh my God, you want to talk about the crap that we went through in school and have to be fit in a box.
Oh God, yeah.
We're stuck in it. And people are like us are producing books left and right without them. It's he's dying, dude. Change it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like a lot of industries, like the old rich white dudes are dying off.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's all I got to say. It's like, it's just a matter of time. They're hanging on there, but this is I think this is the last generation where they really will have any kind of great influence over anything, really.
Yeah. So I always got an interesting question that I do like to ask all my guests, and that is, like, in this process, going throughout all the years, do you have one mentor, or maybe it goes back to your teens that maybe it wasn't a mentor, it was just somebody who gave you one bit of advice that has inspired you your entire life?
There's yes and no. Again, I have had abysmal luck finding mentors in my life. very early on, I read a book called The Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman.
Yeah.
And in that book, mentors figure very, very heavily. Like the guy, he goes off the deep end, and then he finds the mentor, and then the mentor brings him back to life, and it's all awesome after that. And then, like, back in that period, I read several books that were mentor driven like that, several self-help books like that. And I thought that that's something I wanted to get for myself. But I as I said, I've had abysmal luck with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had to learn how to trust myself and my own wisdom and my own knowing. Now, that said, there have been people that have provided inspiring bits of advice. And the one that I can think of right now is very early on when my daughter was 3 or 4. We were in a daycare or a preschool or something like that. And a teacher there advised us that parents are like the banks of a river, and the child is the water. The child can do whatever he or she wants within the banks of the river. And as the child grows up, as the child matures, the banks of the river get wider and wider, but the child still operates within them. And the parents their job is to provide the banks of that river and to be stability, and so the child can eventually go out into the world on their own. That's
pretty profound, dude.
Isn't it? Yeah.
I never thought of it that way, but that's pretty, like, that's righteous, dude.
Isn't it though? I love that piece of advice.
Yeah.
But it's like, and you're going like, where were you when my kids were 3? But
yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
So, then, you then said you read many books. All right. Do you have a favorite book that you go back to, other than that one that you just mentioned? Do you have a favorite that you go back to on occasion and go, man, I got to go retap into that one?
Yeah, actually, I'm wow. Well, I know you.
I have one, and it's right here, so that's why I'm asking.
What is it?
It's the one I've had for life. I can't think how many times I've gone back and reread this book.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Actually, I'm rereading right now. I'm rereading the Conversations with God series by Neil Donald Walsh.
Yeah.
Oh, you're familiar with that? Good.
Familiar with them? Yeah.
Yeah. And those particular books were very instrumental in my first, if I can dare say this, like when I was first becoming woke, right? But I hate saying that, but
But we get
yeah. But when that process was first happening, I ran into that book, and it just meshed so well with not only with the way I thought about myself, but with my own upbringing and stuff. Him being Roman Catholic, I was Roman Catholic too.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So right now I'm working on the 3rd book. I periodically revisit one or the other of them.
Yeah, mine's an interesting one. I found this by, like, when I was going through a homeless period of my life. This was sitting on a friend of mine's house. I was staying on his couch. This was sitting on his coffee table. The book was written in 1930, like I want to say like 32 or something like that.
Yeah.
And like some of the stuff into it is still, to my knowledge, I still call it some of those modern stuff. 1925 was the original.
Oh wow!
And you're like, well, I need the most modern. I'm like, dude, 1925, it's still relevant.
Yeah, well, and certain pieces are timeless like that.
Well, I assume, all right, because of the way that you are a writer, that you're going to write stuff that people are going to find 100 years from now, and they're going to go like, yeah, that's
what I'm hoping,
because of the fact that, how you are. You've tuned into the world and going, with great wisdom like that with your daughter, you've got to have stuff that you're putting out that is going to make and that's what we should be doing, because it ain't just about me fixing me and now. It's about me fixing the world, and I do it by what I'm doing here and now. Would you agree?
Exactly. I feel you. And actually, and I know you're not keen on talking politics on your show, and I'm not going to talk politics, but that said, I just wrote in an article and published it on Medium last week. That's that's about the case for creating a new political party, because the Democrats are failing us, the Republicans are failing us, the three minor parties are too small to make a big difference. So what are we going to do? We can unite. And my article is about the Unity Party. That's the one that was shared in the Pakistani paper.
Oh, okay. I can see why that's cool. That's a cool article. That's awesome. So we can go down that. You and I will go down that road, not on air someday.
Right on.
I think we jive on that. So
yeah, good deal.
Well, you know what I mean? This has been a fun interview. All right. It's been great getting to know you, but I want to make sure some of my readers and listeners and followers can all find you. What is the best website they go to check you out?
The best website is my personal website, 3lmedia.com. That's the name of my business. Mm-hmm. And I'm also on Medium, and I'll put a link to my Medium page on the 3L Media page.
Yeah, put it in the comments when we're done. So yeah, cool.
Yeah, we'll do.
And do you have anything there like a free offer or something like that they can get a hold of you with? Or
there is. Right now I have a bite-size offer. Okay. You can get involved with me and my writing skills. I can write 1,000 words for you, 1,000, 2,000 words for you for $99. Okay. And that's a way to just see if you like my writing style, see if you like what I can do for you.
Cool. So, well, I mean, it has been unique having you on the show today, John.
Awesome, man.
I do like to close my show out with a little game, though, John. I hope you've heard about it. It's called This or That.
Yeah.
I've made
there they are.
9 things to find out who you are. Some of my listeners really love this. So I'm just going to give you 2 choices. You tell me which one. Some of these may prompt other choices, and some of these may prompt questions.
Yeah.
I like to start out to find out who my geeks and nerds are, and that's Star Wars or Star Trek.
Okay, well, here we go. I like Star Wars because it follows the hero's journey real closely. Yeah. But at the same time, I grew up with Star Trek. Yeah. So I read books, I watched the show, I did the thing. Star Trek's got an an awesome vision for a future society. Yeah. Where we can all do what we want to do and not worry about it.
Yeah. I listened to a Mike Rowe podcast, talking about the creation of Star Trek. Anyway. Oh, wow. Whole cool thing. But my next one is another sci-fi one, and that is from the movie Matrix, red pill or blue pill?
Which one is the one that I always forget? It's the one I prefer the truth.
The red pill that reveals the unpleasant truth, and the blue pill is to remain blissfully ignorant.
I'll take the red one, thanks.
Me too. Just give me the truth, guys. All right. Yeah. It's gonna sting. I'd rather take the sting up front than to find it out later.
I feel you.
So my next one is something that I'm not sure you're into, but you're gonna find out how much I am, and that is Van Halen, Sammy or Dave.
I never did like Van Hagar too much. So yeah, let's go with Dave.
I'm a huge Van Halen fan. So but I like them both, but Dave was better. I mean, more hits with it, but Dave was still better. Anyway, my next one moves into food products, and that is taco or hamburger.
You can get more variety with tacos. So yeah, I mean, but don't get me wrong, I like a good hamburger, but yeah.
You live in Texas. It's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. You live in Texas.
Pretty much, yeah.
How about this one here? Beer or wine?
Whiskey.
Whiskey? Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Now we got a whole nother topic to talk about. All right. Okay. Have you had the TX bourbon made here in Texas? No. Oh, you got to get that, bro.
But I did try the Sam Houston.
Yeah. I've had the Sam Houston too. Another great one. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're making some good whiskey and bourbon here in Texas. Just saying.
Yeah.
I have this other whiskey I have here in my house. It's kind of clear. Comes from Tennessee in mason jars, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
My next one here is: would you rather listen to a podcast or music?
I'm sorry?
Would you rather listen to a podcast or music?
Probably music. Because
Cool.
I mean, I don't have anything against podcasts. I might be getting into them myself sometime soon because of the interview thing I was talking about earlier. But like my brain likes music better.
Yeah.
Podcasts, I have to process the words.
Yeah. My coach, my marketing coach, Craig Duswalt. I don't know if you know Craig. He was in the music industry. And he writes all of his stuff, and he says his number one song to have playing in the background while he's writing is 4 Non-Blondes, What's Up?
Oh,
You know what I mean? It's like I listen to that song and I'm like, I can't. All right. But like if I have music playing or some noise in the background, I can write better.
yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
So my next one here is beach or mountains?
Beach. I grew up near it.
What beach did you go to a lot out there?
I was in Laguna Beach, California. So there was a set of named beaches.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite was Woods Cove.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh God.
Been to it. Yep.
Oh wow. Wow, dude.
I know I live in Texas, but I visit California quite a bit. So
wow.
Now I'm going to get into some controversial ones that I love to finish them out with. And the next one is the toilet paper. Does it go over on the roll or under?
I have a deep-seated loathing of people who roll it under. So yeah, over definitely.
I had a girl on from New Hampshire, and she said, listen, I'm single. And if I start dating a guy and if I go and change that toilet paper from under to over 3 times, after the 3rd time, I break up with him. This relationship.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it's on the patent, man. I mean, if you look at the patent rules, it's on over. But
some of the most calmest people in the world, you ask them that question, and that's when they become defensive. Oh my God. All right. How about my last one here? And that's boxers or briefs?
Both. I wear boxer briefs.
Hey, at least it's not neither. Anyway.
Yeah.
One more time, John, tell them your website so they can find you.
Right on. Yeah. I can be found at 3lmedia.com. And if you'd like to schedule a conversation with me, the button's right there at the bottom.
Cool. So again, I appreciate you, John, coming on the show today, letting my listeners know who you are and how they can find you.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, been real. So
yeah, it's been a lot of fun, Tim. Thanks.
You bet. So to you, the listeners, all right, I want to say thank you for listening in. All right, go check out John and his website because this guy's really a cool dude. And again, I don't put anybody that's not cool dudes on my show. It's just the way it is. All right, go check him out. And be sure to go and subscribe over on Apple Podcasts with us. All right, timgilletteshow.com takes you directly over to Apple Podcasts. Subscribe over there. And if you know somebody who'd be great on the show, connect with us and we'll put them on the show as well. I'm Tim Gillette with the Tim Gillette Show, and I will see you next time. Bye now.